Hello and welcome to Football Now, a new football prediction YouTube channel. We're going to run through our own predictions, talk you through the betting odds. This particular video will be focusing on Chelsea's visit to Bournemouth at the Vitality Stadium, live on Sky Sports at 2 o'clock on Sunday. Connor, first of all, how you doing, mate?
I'm feeling wonderful. I'm never not feeling wonderful, Brad.
Oh, good. Do you want to talk us through the odds for this match?
Yeah, so Bournemouth and Chelsea. I mean, where do we begin with Chelsea? Look at the odds there, 4-5. I'm looking at it. I don't know whether there's value or not. If you're looking at Chelsea, the name, you think absolutely, yeah. Chelsea to beat Bournemouth, nearly even. You'd think that's really, really good value, but they've been poor. They have been poor. They've been poor for a long time. They're very inconsistent. They've brought in so many players. They've brought in a new manager. Um, I think Bournemouth are going to make it difficult for them. Chelsea suffered really poor defeat last time out. They played Nottingham Forest at Stamford Bridge. They lost 1-0, and actually, it wasn't even. It weren't one of those performances where you just, batter the opponent's goal and they hit one on the break. I think Nottingham Forest were well worth the victory there. Bournemouth are winless this season. They very, very nearly won last time out against Brentford. It was a 93 third-minute equaliser from Mbepo to rescue a point for Brentford. So Bournemouth have felt a little bit unlucky there, but yeah, there's no reason really why they can't get anything from this game. I think it's one of those where if you're looking to really boost your ACCA, 4-5 for Chelsea, you may be looking at that, but it's a risk. It is a risk. I don't think there's much value in the others, to be fair. I think it is one of those few fixtures where literally any outcome is possible. I could see Bournemouth winning. I could see it being a draw. I could see Chelsea, getting 1-1-2-3 goals. Chelsea are going to click at some point. They've invested too much money. They've got a great manager. They have got really good players. I'll be surprised if it doesn't click at some point. I think they are lacking up top a little bit. Jackson, I think, is going to take a little bit of time to settle. I think he's come from very Real. He did okay there, but it is going to take time to settle. I don't think his confidence is very high. Missed a really good chance last time out against Forest. I think Sterling is going to be carrying a lot of the weight there. I think he's come in and he's done really well. I think he's had a really good season this season. Good start to the season. I think, yeah, I think if it was me, I think even feeling like taking a bit of a risk, maybe I'd put Chelsea in because it is going to boost your ACCA up a lot, that 4-5. But yeah, I'd be watching maybe through fingers in that game.
Looking at the fixtures, the history of the fixtures, between the pair, Chelsea have won the last three. The game before that was a 2-2 draw at the Vitality Stadium, where the game's being played this weekend. Of course, Bournemouth, they're yet to get a win. They've got a new manager under them, Andoni Areola. Gary O'Neill, perhaps harshly done by for the job he did last year. Looking at the business they've done, they brought in Tyler Adams from Leeds, Hamed Traore from Sassuolo, Alex Scott from Bristol City, who I've heard a lot of. I've not seen much of, but I've heard good things about. He's still only 19 years old. Justin Kluivert, another name which stands out, from Roma on the wing, and the right back in Max Adams, as well as Luis Sinisterra on loan from Leeds. What's the reasonable expectation for Bournemouth this year? Do you think it's staying in the league?
Absolutely, yeah. You read out those names there. Now, on paper, I think they brought in some really good signings, actually. And you mentioned Tyler Adams. It was someone who Chelsea were linked with really until they brought in Lavia and Caicedo. He's a really, really good player. But again, when you look at a team who's brought in that many signings, it's a bit of a concern. Obviously, it's not worked out for Chelsea. They've spent over $1 billion, and you look at the squad, and it's just not gelled at all yet. But yeah, I think for Bournemouth, it's just about staying in the Premier League. I don't think they're going to have to work miracles to do that because I do think they've got a decent squad. I think there are teams who below them. I think every team below them there. I think actually that bottom five is could be pretty accurate to what the end of the season table will look at. To be honest with you, but yeah, I think Bournemouth are going to be going into this game with a bit of confidence. Actually, I think they're going to be seeing Chelsea, seeing the game that Chelsea played last time against Nottingham Forest, and thinking, if they got something, we could as well. think Bournemouth are going to be disappointed with conceding that last-minute goal to Brentford last time out, but they'll be buoyed by the performance. Brentford away is hard. It's a really tough place to go to, and they've very nearly got 3 points. Even a point out of that game, is pretty decent. So, I think they'll be looking to get something from this, and I feel like Bournemouth are going to be eyeing up a point. I think there's going to be confidence in that Bournemouth camp there, and I don't think there's a lot of confidence in the Chelsea camp.
I think Bournemouth will be buoyed as well by the positive start to the season made by Dominic Solanke. I think he's the man that they're going to be looking for the goals. He had 6 goals in the Premier League last season in 33 games. He's already got 2 this season in 4. I think he is the man, the main man now. He's got number 9 on his back to grab the goals for Bournemouth. And then in contrast, I'm just getting Chelsea's squad up now. I mean, you need about 3 pages to see it.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. It's too much. It really is too much. I was reading an article a few months ago from The Athletic, who obviously are very, very good, saying that, there's not even enough room in the changing room for them. I mean, it's an absolute shambles. It's ever since Todd Bowley took over, it's, I know they've got this sort of system where, we're going to bring in a load of young players, and yes, it's going to take time, but, they spend that much money. They are going to get to a point, actually, where if these players don't work out for them and they want to bring in more people, they're really going to struggle to do that. Because they brought in these players for big money, from big wages, and to comply with FFP, to try and bring in other people and get rid of them, it's going to be really, really difficult to do that. So, yeah, they're sort of hoping now that Mauricio Pochettino can get the best out of these players. I mean, they've got quite a few injuries, which could that help him? I don't know. Maybe have a smaller pool to choose from. It really is an incredible situation because we always talk about that it's so good to have squad depth, and that's really, really going to help. Chelsea just have too much squad depth. They're not in Europe as well, so I don't know where they're going to give all these minutes to and keep all these players happy. And then you've got to keep morale up. How are you going to keep the morale up of the guys who aren't playing? Mauricio Pochettino has got an unenviable task ahead of him. He really, really does.
It's a strange one as well. They've got all these players, a lot of them on 7 or 8 year contracts. If it doesn't work out, they're going to do well to shift them. Because why would a player leave if they're getting that amount of money unless someone else is willing to match it? Raheem Sterling started the season well, but a man who was a subject of quite a lot of focus over the summer was Moises Caicedo. Played out over 3 or 4 days. He was going to Chelsea, then to Liverpool, then back to Chelsea. He ends up at Chelsea alongside Romeo Lavia. Lavia's not played a game yet. Caicedo has. It's not had the greatest of starts, giving away a penalty on his debut against West Ham and then gives a goal away against Forest last time out. Having said all this, we mentioned all the players that have came in. It can be hard to gel. Pochettino is clearly going to need time. Whether he's afforded time at Chelsea is a different question. Having said that, what's a reasonable expectation for Chelsea this year?
I think it's just getting Europe, and actually, you do question. Would Chelsea fans be happy with the Europa League? There's sort of a snobbery about top clubs in the Europa League, and I hold my hand up as an Arsenal fan. It's like it's not really a competition. You really want to be in. You'd rather almost not be in it and just focus on the Premier League. But beggars can't be choosers. I think Chelsea, top 5 getting the Premier League now, the Champions League now. So Chelsea, I'm sure we'll be aiming for that Champions League, but there's a lot of teams to displace out of those Champions League spots, and I think it's going to be difficult to do that. I think they've got a squad built for Europe and built for fighting on all fronts, but to get there is going to be a difference to them. Pochettino is really going to have to get the squad gelling and quickly because they've not had the best results, but the performances haven't been good, and that is what we're. I mean, look at their Chelsea in 12th place to play 4 games. They've won one of those games against Luton as well, who I've had a difficult start to the season. They've just come up to the Premier League for the first time, so it's not looking good for Chelsea. I'm sure they wanted to put last season behind them and really kick on this season. It's not happened yet, and if you've got Champions League aspirations, no disrespect to Bournemouth, but these are the games you've got to be winning. And I think this is going to be a crucial game, and this game will give a lot of information to how Chelsea are going to do this season.
Just looking at the injuries as well, Chelsea got some big players out. Fofana and Nkunku out long term with knee injuries. Reece James as well is a big loss. He played very well. Well, he played well against Liverpool, but he was also at fault for the goal that Liverpool scored that day. That wasn't.
He was, yeah.
I do wonder if it would have been if it was Trent Alexander-Arnold, but we'll leave that conversation for another video. Having said all that, what's your prediction, Connor? I think the odds are going to be coming up on screen now.
Yeah, I'm going to predict 1-1. You know, if I'm feeling a bit risky on the day, I'm looking for a bit of value. Maybe I'll put Chelsea in, see if I can get quite a lot of value in that. It would be a risk, but yeah, I do feel like 1-1. They've not shown me enough to convince me yet that they can consistently put victories together. I think Bournemouth played okay actually against Brentford last time out. You mentioned that Solanke started the season well. He is more than capable of getting on the score sheet. So I think 1-1. I think Solanke's going to get on the score sheet. And I think Sterling's going to contribute with him to score for Chelsea.
Solanke playing against his former team as well. I'm going to back Chelsea to nick it 1-0. Not with any confidence at all, but
you can't have confidence in any outcome. I think with this one.
Absolutely, I'm going to back Sterling as well to nick the winner. He started the season well, and I think he'll continue that. I think he's going to have a point to prove after being left out by England. That concludes our roundup for Chelsea's visit to Bournemouth this weekend at 2 p.m. on Sunday. Let us know your own predictions in the comments below. Check out all the other preview videos that we'll be doing for this weekend's games on the channel, and we'll see you on the next one.